Hello, welcome back. This is StudMuffin 1986, and today I thought I would do something a little bit different in introducing tanks that are not yet in World of Tanks Blitz. You might have noticed this on the new revised Rockfield map or on the new Vineyards map, that there is a new tank, but just what is this tank? Well, today I'm going to be going over that, as this is a very controversial piece. This is the German Strumtiger, a very mysterious tank that is talked about quite a bit among players of World of Tanks, PC, and even World of Tanks Blitz. But why is this tank not yet in the game? Is it yet to come out? Will it ever come out? We're not necessarily sure yet. And the biggest piece of this tank that is the hardest thing for wargaming to figure out and just how to place this thing is its cannon, which is one of the very first things that players notice when they just see this thing. It almost looks like just something straight out of a cartoon. Just very stubby, very huge, and packs a super deadly punch. So when going into the cannon to just find out why this thing is so hard to balance for wargaming and putting it in the game, historically, this thing has a 380mm cannon. And if we compare that to something that we already very well know of in the game, and also very fear, is the KV-2 with a cannon of about 150mm, more like 152. So with these stats, according to Wargaming's balancing system, we can just figure out what kind of damage the Strumtiger would deal out if this tank were in the game. If we look at the KV-2, it has an alpha damage of 800 damage for a cannon size of about 150. Now if we take 800 divided by 150, which gives us the ratio of cannon size to alpha damage, we can take that ratio and then times that by 380, and you can see that this tank would do approximately over 2025 damage, which is just insane. So it really goes to show Wargaming's issue with this tank and just how to incorporate it. Now there are some things that I've noticed that Wargaming likes to keep fairly historically accurate to the actual tanks that existed when incorporating them into this game, such as armor, horsepower, weight, things of that sort. Wargaming likes to keep that accurate so it has a very realistic feel to the game, according to how the tank actually functions. But there are some metrics that Wargaming does fiddle with a little bit to help with balancing, and that's what we're trying to figure out with the Strumtiger, to see if it were to be in the game, just what this tank would be like. And so some of the things they do fiddle with are things like rate of fire, maybe hit points, to help with that balancing. And so with the Strumtiger having a 380mm cannon, according to the KV-2 that we just saw, they're going to want it to be something around that. It would have to be in order to keep up somewhat with the consistency of what they've already built out and put in the game. So if we try to incorporate this as a tier 8, and we just take the ratio of the KV-2's alpha damage and its hit points, it'll give us a 93% damage rate, according to if a KV-2 came across another KV-2 in the game. Once again, of how they have this balanced. So if we apply that to a Strumtiger at a tier 8 level, with its amount of hit points that other tank destroyers have at that level, according to that same percentage, we can see that the damage is just still way too low. And so it's not that combination of it being historically accurate with it still being balanced in the game just does not work at a tier 8 level. So now let's see if we could incorporate this thing as a tier 10 tank. So from looking at other tank destroyers at a tier 10 level, on more of the lower scale of things in terms of their hit points, we can see that they have about 1800. Well, if we apply the same exact math, we can see that this thing would be capable of doing up to 1674 damage And with its high explosive shells, it would be able to do 2,511 damage. So according to that, we can see that it falls right in between the accuracy level of what a 380mm cannon is supposed to be capable of doing. Now, I don't work for Wargaming. I'm not saying that this is how it will be. This is just thoughts and predictions just based on what Wargaming already has in the game. And if they were to incorporate this, these would be my thoughts and what the metrics would possibly be. Now, according to what we were able to possibly find out, let's just compare that to the Omega hitter of the FV215B183, which we can see that the Strumtiger has a much worse dispersion, much worse rate of fire, much worse aim time, all of those things that Wargaming does fiddle with to try to balance things in the game, and keeping it according to those same KV2 metrics, which the KV2 already has a short, stubby cannon and so forth, and try to apply that to a Strumtiger with a 380mm cannon. And to keep this thing historically accurate, from Wargaming's Inside the Tanks videos they have, this thing would have 150mm of frontal armor, and then 60 to 100mm of side and rear armor. So we really don't know if Wargaming is going to be incorporating this tank in the game. If they do, we could see that this tank would definitely have its downfalls and struggles. This would definitely not be a thing you would try to shoot from very far distance like most tank destroyers. It would have to have a very high aim time, a very high dispersion, those things that Wargaming fiddles with to try to make these tanks work in the game. So thanks for watching. This is StudMuffin1986, just some thoughts and ramblings on how Wargaming might be able to incorporate a tank like this. Because if the Strumtiger was not correctly balanced in the game, this thing would easily be insanely overpowered. It would be like ammo racking a tank every single shot you took with this thing. If you enjoyed watching this and me going over tanks that are not yet in Blitz, let me know, hit the like button. I would love to make more videos on possibly what other tanks might be capable of if they were in Blitz, maybe go over why they're in Blitz, or maybe it might be why they'll never be in Blitz. So thanks again, StudMuffin1986, take care.